Hello and welcome to MTX show Against All Odds, from setback to success. Each episode, we sit with people who turn adversity into action, leaders who build something meaningful out of real world struggles. Today, we are honored to have Dr. Shuchin Bajaj with us, a doctor, a social entrepreneur, and the founder director of Ujala Cygnus Hospitals. Thank you so much, sir, for coming here and giving us a chance to know all the things from becoming a doctor to becoming an entrepreneur, how your life shaped and who real Dr. Shuchin Bajaj is.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, and a very warm thanks to MTX for hosting me, and a very warm greeting to all viewers of MTX.
Thank you so much, sir. And our motto is to give the insights, give the ideas to the inspiring people out over there, how from the setback a person can build and lead the success in his or her life. So starting with a very early life of yours, sir, as you said that your ancestors were from the, you can say, pre-partition India. So how was your childhood? With what stories, with what inspiration did you grow up?
Yeah, so both my parents come from what is now Pakistan. My mother was from Lahore and my father was from Sargodha, and after partition they came and settled in, father settled in New Delhi, mother in Kanpur. And my father used to live in a horse stable, which was like a 10 feet by 6 feet space, which earlier had a horse in it. Now, they made it their home. And there used to be around 14 or 15 people in that horse stable living all together. And my father used to make kites for a living.
Okay.
So very early on in his life, he decided that education was the way out of poverty. He said,
Yes.
I will climb out of poverty by studying and, educating myself. And he literally had to climb out because he could not study in that horse stable because there were 15 other
Yes.
people, and during the daytime they were making kites all the time, and at night when he tried to study, the other people would beat him up saying that, shut off that lamp because
You
we
are
can't
disturbing
sleep.
me. Yeah.
You're disturbing us. And more importantly, if that lamp, if the kites catch fire due to that lamp, we
Yes.
won't have anything to eat for the next week.
Yes, yes.
So he actually had to climb out. He brought some rope from somewhere, some tin shed, some plastics, and he climbed out of that horse stable. He hung a rope onto the roof and he used to climb the rope and go to the roof of the horse stable, and he studied there, and that is where he made his home. He stayed there for a very long time actually. So he got married on that roof. My sister was born there. And his favorite dialogue to us all the time when we were young was, if you want a roof on your head, instead of under your feet, like I had my roof under my feet. So if you want a roof on your head, you should study, because that is the only way.
Yes.
So the importance of education was drilled into us from the very beginning. Although we didn't have any money to speak of, it was not. We were not like him, so badly off. He worked hard. He studied. He became a professor, and But the value of money was always taught to us, that you can't spend any money unnecessarily.
unnecessarily.
Even 10 rupees was very, very premium money for us. I remember I used to cycle about 16, 17 kilometers from my house to my school because we could not really afford to pay the school bus fee.
Yes.
The school fees was free for me as a scholarship, I think. But the bus fee had to be paid. But then my father said, you're a young guy.
Yes, you
why
can
don't you
just-
cycle?
yeah.
So use the cycle, use your energy. So the value of money and the value of education, I think, were taught very early on, and this is still something that we really keep in mind. My father used to tell me that you can spend any amount of money on education, but not on anything else, because whatever you are spending on education is investment, not an expense.
Exactly.
So you can invest money into education, but don't expense out on anything else. These are the stories that I grew up with.
The kind of story you told us about your father, sir, we always hear it and read it and seen it in the movies. I really did not have thought like this kind of stories really mean in the life of such peoples. By the way, sir, as you said that spending money on education is investing. A very good thought, a very good, you can say, moral, which every child, every parent should teach their child and lead to the, and this gives the nation back as well. If you really teach the child will do something which will serve to the nation. And it's very easy to spend money, but it's very hard to earn it. Sir, you told us your story from your early life. You were a doctor. You became a doctor. You worked at a very reputed hospital in your early life. Then what changed? What made a turning point in your life to, you can say, not quit, to stop your clinician practice and start a hospital where you will hire the people, the doctors, and run the hospital chain where you can serve to the patient, not from being operated, but by giving the facility?
Yeah, so I haven't stopped my clinical practice completely. I do try to see patients sometimes, but yeah, it takes a lot of effort because time is at a premium.
Yes.
But yeah, as I said, education and money were, important to us from the very beginning. Our father was a very strict father. Padhai karo, padhai karo. And actually at that time we didn't have any distractions also. I mean, I never went on any school trip. I didn't even have any clothes except my school uniform, so I couldn't really go out anywhere, and not many friends. So studying was like an enjoyment to me. When I ran out of school books, I would read, all kinds of books that were available anywhere. I would read even all newspapers. I remember one particular summer vacation, there was this only one library that was close to us, and the only piece of fiction that it had was Premchand. So I read all Premchand books during that summer vacation. So each and every novel, story of Premchand I read. Mansarovar pura padha. So yeah, education was very important and I studied.
Yes.
So luckily I got through the government medical college entrance exam, PMT we used to call it at that time. And luckily I got into a government college. I got a good rank. So that was the only way I could study medicine, because my father wouldn't have paid for a private college fees. I remember my annual fees was about 415 rupees or something. So the government helps you very much in that case. If you can get through those difficult exams, education becomes
if you have the
practically
capability,
free.
the government is always there to back you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I did my MBBS, then I did my MD in internal medicine, and then I was studying to be a gastroenterologist.
Okay.
So things were going well. I was supposed to be this hotshot gastroenterology doctor, and I was thinking I can earn a lot of money.
Yeah.
But then my family was still, the extended family was still struggling to get out of poverty. Not everyone had really climbed up. And some of my cousins still, one of my cousins is a driver, one runs a mechanic shop, one is a bus conductor, one has a fruit juice stall. So, these kinds of family members were still there. And, so when I came to Delhi to do my gastroenterology, I used to get a lot of these calls that, they were like, oh, now somebody in our family is a doctor.
Yes.
So they would call me saying somebody is very sick, somebody's had a accident, somebody's had a, heart attack, somebody's, we are bringing them to Delhi. So can you help us? Now we have a known doctor.
Yeah.
On the one hand, I felt very proud now that, I was this big
you
guy
are
in
a
the
big
family.
name now in the
big
family.
guy in the family, I can help them. But on the other, it always was slightly troubling that, why were these people traveling 5-6 hours in a hired jeep, bringing the patient to Delhi? And one particular week it happened that 2 deaths occurred back to back on the way. They could not make it to Delhi. One was a young guy and one was an older person. So both of them died on the way. And I went to the funerals and I heard these very disturbing stories And you sit in the village, you talk. So some villagers were sitting, "Arey, theek hai, he died on the way, that's okay, it's God's will."
Yes.
Do you know the last one from our village that did go to Delhi a year ago? He stayed in a hospital for 15
But
days.
still,
And then he had to sell his house,
Yeah,
sell his
yeah,
lands,
exactly.
and then he died. Now look, his widow is begging on the street, so at least this guy's wife has something to live by. It was quite a mind-blowing situation for me, because till that time during my medical life, I mean, I had always assumed that saving a patient is like the biggest thing, no?
Yeah.
We'll do anything to save our patient.
Yes.
We'll do anything. कुछ भी
Every
खर्चेंगे,
possibility.
कुछ भी, whatever it takes,
जी,
right?
जी.
But at that time, I understood that financial outcomes were actually more important to these communities than physical outcomes.
Yeah.
They were like, अच्छा हुआ रास्ते में मर गया, because at least his house got saved,
Yes.
at least his fields
His
got saved,
money is there.
his rest of family at least can live. So that was one of the changing points for me. Then I came back and then I thought, there are already 20,000 doctors in Delhi. What will I do if I become one more?
What change you are bringing to the
what will I
society?
do? At that time there were 20,000 doctors in Delhi. Now I think there are 40,000 doctors in Delhi. So I was like, one more won't really make a difference.
Yes.
The need is in those small towns,
Yeah.
in those villages where there are no doctors,
Tier 2 and
where
Tier
there are
3
no
cities.
emergency services.
Yeah.
And that is when I decided to drop out of gastroenterology. Of course, my father was very angry.
Yes, he would have. The kind of description you are giving of your father, he would have scolded you a lot.
he was mad as hell. He was like, "You are mad," because education was the most
Yeah.
important to him, and he said, "Padhai chhod ke, if you're doing anything, that is the wrong decision." And he was like, "People pay crores of rupees for this seat.
Yes.
Since you've got it for free, you are not appreciating it, and
Yes.
you are the biggest idiot I've ever seen." So he was very angry. My whole family was very angry that I was leaving such a prestigious opportunity.
Exactly.
And they were like, "Ulti Ganga baha rahe ho tum. People come from small towns, settle in big cities. You are in Delhi. You are going the other way."
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, sometimes you feel that were you brave or stupid? I don't know. Time will tell us whether it was a good decision or a bad decision.
And
but
I think the time has already told.
I think we are still in progress.
Continuous
We are still working. We are still trying to see what to do best. I think it's still work in progress. But yeah, we have this running joke in the family that my sister went to the US and she's very well settled there, and she always used to call me that you should come.
And practice over there?
Yeah, but
Okay.
she said there's a lot of money there.
Yeah.
Doctors do very well,
Yes,
so you should
yes.
come to the US. But now we have 3 hospitals in Uttarakhand. So we have in Haldwani, we have in Kashipur, we have in Sitarganj. So now I tell her that doesn't matter. You went to US, I went to UK.
That's so good, sir. It's
So,
a very good one.
yes.
You went to USA and I went to UK.
Yes.
And in UK also you have expanded yourself to different cities.
Yeah, we are in the Kumaon part of Uttarakhand, which is actually very less served. Garhwal part is still, better.
And I
Dehradun,
have heard
Rishikesh.
that in Garhwal region, it's quite under the poverty thing.
Garhwal, see, whole of Uttarakhand is still struggling to come out and become like a middle income or a high income state in India. But within Uttarakhand, if you see Garhwal, the capital is there, Dehradun, Rishikesh, AIIMS Rishikesh is there.
Yes, yes.
So still better supplied in terms of healthcare. Kumaon actually is very poorly supplied. And then in Kumaon, actually, Nepal also, a lot of patients come from Nepal, Khatima, etc. to Kumaon.
Okay.
So the need is there. So, and there's not very, high supply of good quality tertiary emergency healthcare like cardiology, neurosurgery, all of that. So that is why we have the hospitals more in Kumaon.
Yeah, like you were telling us about the experience of your hospitals. When you built your first hospital, you opened your first hospital, what was the experience?
I had no money actually. I dropped out and I was like, what should I do now? So this is how this unique model that we have, the asset light, very lean model of hospitals came out of that. It came out of actually a need for providing high quality healthcare, but without having any money in my pocket, right? Because hospitals, people, if you see the big private chains, if you see,
Yes,
they're like,
yes.
they spend hundreds and thousands of crores
Exactly.
in a hospital. They spend
Yeah.
1.5 crore per bed, 2 crores per
Yes,
big
we have seen.
some of the bigger hospitals have 4 crores per bed as the budget. I did not even have 40,000 rupees in my pocket. I was like, oh, I've dropped out. Now what should I do? So I think this Hoffman Reed statement, the founder of LinkedIn, it fits perfectly into what I went through. You
Okay.
listen to these statements and then you validate your actions. So I did that. So he said entrepreneurs are those people who jump off the cliff and then build a parachute on the way down.
Oh wow, that's a very good one.
Yeah, so this is what I did. I jumped off and then I was
Yes.
like, what should I do? So this whole model came out of constraint.
Mm-hmm.
So we started out with, seeing a hospital which was already constructed, but not doing very well.
Mm-hmm.
And then we talked to them that why don't you let us manage your hospital
Okay.
and we'll work, and we know what conditions the community is suffering from, what treatments they need, what
Yes.
doctors they need, and we can provide that. But we don't have money to buy your hospital and we don't even have money to pay rent to you.
Yes.
So we'll do a revenue share kind of arrangement
Okay.
where if we earn, we'll pay a part of that to you.
Yes.
Otherwise,
Bhagwan
and
bharosa.
so, but the owners were kind and they also were, actually spending money out of their own pocket because the
Okay.
hospital was not doing too well. Because if you see these small town hospitals, these district headquarters, if you see their progress, what happened was district headquarter is where the community goes for everything.
Okay.
The surrounding villages, kasbas, they come to the district headquarter if they want to sell their fasal, if they want to buy anything,
Yeah, yes,
if
yes,
they want
yes.
to have banking access, if they want to have any government access, the district headquarter is where they come.
Yes.
The collector sits there,
Exactly.
the market is there, the bank is there, everything is there.
Accessible to everything.
Yeah, so the whole district comes. There's a
Yeah.
natural flow.
Yes.
And this is what they used to do for healthcare also till about the 80s. For
Okay.
any healthcare need also, they used to come to the district headquarter. Then in the 1980s, a revolution happened in healthcare which became a very machine centric, super speciality kind of healthcare which was not there earlier. So now if you have a heart attack, you had to have a cath lab with a cardiologist to put a stent in.
Yeah.
If you had a head injury, you had to have a CT scan, a neurosurgeon to operate on
MRI
you.
and
All of those
everything.
super
Yes.
specialists and machines were needed. In the 80s, when I was growing up, if you had a heart attack, even in Delhi, you had no way to get an angioplasty except either go to Chennai, where Apollo had set up the first
Oh my
cardiac
God.
cath lab, or you went to United States. These were the two places you went to for a angioplasty at that time. But then things changed and Delhi had all these services. So people for heart attacks, head injuries, critical illness, they started going to either Delhi or to Chandigarh or all these places, and the district headquarters fell out of favor
Yes.
because they did not afford the big machines, and of course they could not get access to these super specialists because they were very limited in number. Even today, I don't think we produce more than 8 or 900 cardiologists every year for 1.5 billion people.
Yes.
I don't think we produce more than 200, 250 endocrinologists every year for 100 million diabetics in India. So the super specialist number is always a low number, and they all want to come and settle down in the big cities or go to US, Europe, all of that,
Yes,
right?
I got it.
Like I was going to.
Like you were being
Supposed to be,
told
but
by
I
your
didn't.
sister.
Yeah. So these district headquarters then fell out of favor with the community, and the hospitals that were existing slowly started to get empty.
Yes,
And
yes.
so these hospitals that we looked at were also not doing very well, and the owners actually had to spend money out of their own
Their
pocket to
own
maintain
yes,
them, pay
yes.
salaries. So I think it was a win-win for everyone.
Yeah.
I got an already existing infrastructure where I could go and offer these services.
Yes.
The owners saw the hospital growing, and the
Yes.
community then got access to all
Access
these
to
services
health, yeah.
at very low costs, because I understood from the very beginning that financial outcomes were very important to this community. So we had to offer services at low cost. It could not be that we offer them services at same price as Delhi.
Yeah.
So I think this became a win-win for all stakeholders, and that is how we started expanding. Very luckily, we got very good investors, very upfront. One of our very dear friends put in the first check. As you say, the first investment is always from the 3 Fs: family, friends, and fools. So,
which one we should pick
so,
up?
yeah,
Third one.
I mean, whoever is believing you that some crazy idea, but okay, I'll put money.
Exactly.
So luckily, we got investment from our very dear friend, and then from some very good investors who stayed with us for a very long time, believed in the model, and allowed us to scale from that one tiny beginning where I used to call myself P2P, PN to promoter. Because I would have to do the cleaning also, then I would have to see the patients also. I was doing everything, right? The management
one-man
also.
army?
One man show, yeah, because you have to do everything yourself. You don't have enough money to pay good people.
Yes.
So luckily we got through that, and then investors came in, supported us, and now we've scaled up to 6 states. We have 28 hospitals now.
Yes.
Still sticking to the ethos of providing good quality but affordable care, and hopefully we'll continue doing that. And hopefully, as I said, it's still work in progress, but let's hope that it ends up well. Yeah.
I just want to know one thing. Why did you name the hospital as Ujala Cygnus? This name is quite different from other hospitals.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a very mix of things. So the first hospital that we actually formed was called Altius. Altius means higher, the Olympic logo, CTS, Altius, Fortius. So we'll go high. And then when we were looking at the first big hospital, the first one was a small hospital, and then when we were looking at the big hospital, then 4 or 5 doctors got together. So a very big name in the hospital management space, then a very big space in the neurosurgical space, orthopedic space, radiology space, internal medicine. All of them got together to as co-founders to get the first big hospital. And as we all know, doctors are very conceited people, right? They're very proud of themselves.
Yes, they are. Yeah? And they should be.
As a doctor, I am very conscious of that. So when all these doctors were getting together, so they said, oh, all of us stars are getting together. So we should name the initiative something related to that. So Cygnus is a constellation of stars. It is the Swan constellation, one of the brightest in the night sky. So that is how the name Cygnus came about, that all these star doctors have come together to start this. And then in 2019, we had a strategic investment from a media company called Amar Ujala. They run one of the biggest Hindi newspapers.
I was thinking of
North
the same,
India.
sir.
Yeah. So when in 2019, Amar Ujala partnered with us to support us and bring the initiative further, then we had the name Ujala tied to Cygnus, so it became Ujala Cygnus. So when Amar Ujala invested, we had 10 hospitals. And now after their investment and support and handholding and their deep knowledge of the community in Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Jammu, Kashmir, now we have 28 hospitals.
Very nice. From one hospital to 28, and now it should be continuing as well. We are hoping so. What was the North Star that guided you for this expansion thing?
Oh, the North Star has clearly always been affordable healthcare services to communities that do not have access.
Yes, yes.
Nobody should die on the road while traveling to a big city to access healthcare in an emergency. Nobody should die because of lack of money. Nobody should die because of poor quality health. Because quality in healthcare is very important.
Very important, sir.
Right? You can't build poorly if you are building for the poor.
Yes.
You can't say, I run a low cost airline. You buy ticket from me at half price, but 3 out of 10 planes will crash. You can't do that, right?
Yeah, there is no guarantee of landing.
Yeah, so quality has to be very, a low cost airline cannot say that,
No.
I can compromise on safety. Safety outcomes, these are very important.
Yes.
So this has been the North Star from the very beginning, high quality, low cost services to communities that do not have access. And high quality, we walk the talk. It is not like I will, offer my hospital to a small town community, but when I fall sick, I will go to a big city
No,
hospital.
no,
It doesn't happen that way, right? My daughter was born in one of our own hospitals. My wife is a gynecologist herself. So she knows all the risks that can happen in a surgery, but she chose to undergo her cesarean section at one of our hospitals. My son has had 2 surgeries in one of our own hospitals. One of our partners, the radiologist I was telling you about earlier, he had a near fatal massive heart attack in one of our hospitals in Kurukshetra. He collapsed while taking a meeting. And he was clinically dead by the time we took him to the cath lab. He would never have made it to Delhi or Chandigarh. There was no pulse, no BP. So we cardioverted him, revived him, and then did an angiography immediately, left anterior fully 100% blocked, put a stent, he survived. So that episode only gave us all our money back, right? That we were able to save him. If that cath lab had not been there, he would not have survived.
He would have died that time.
Yeah. Another thing that he never came back to work. He was like, this is too stressful, you're going to kill me.
Exactly.
Because it is a stressful business.
Yes, it's a stressful
it's a
job.
it's like an enterprise where you're doing low cost work. So you're always, cash is at a premium. And you're always listening to your father all the time, don't spend too much.
Don't spend too much.
So all these things make up for a stressful work environment, but I think you enjoy it also.
Yes.
So you see the services that you're giving to the community gives you a lot of joy. The institutions that you are building, the quality that you are providing to those towns, those are some things that I think really compensate for the hard work.
And the blessings, especially the blessings you are getting from the poor people who can't afford to come to big cities, spend very, I will not say much, very hefty amount to their treatments. It's very great. And the mantra I have got is affordable, accessible, to make everyone equal for the healthcare. And like we always see that at every corner we will find a restaurant, a Burger King, a McDonald's. Why can't we have an accessible hospital for the treatment of the people? That's very great, and I really appreciate the kind of mantra, the mission, the vision you people are having for serving the nation, for serving the healthcare.
Yeah, absolutely. And universal healthcare will not happen by building 1,000-bedded, 2,000-bedded huge hospitals in metro cities and capital cities. It will happen when you have healthcare access close to, within 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers of your village, where you are not, dying on the way while traveling 6 hours. So I think that focus has to be there. We have to go to each and every district of India and serve the community there at their doorsteps.
All the answers have given me a hint that why did you built a hospital in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, not in the metro cities like other people are doing. So running a hospital must take a lot of energy. So what have you had a sacrifice personally along the way?
I think it's any entrepreneur or any worker who puts a lot of time into their work, I think has to sacrifice on some things. At an age where you are struggling to build up your business. That is the age when your children are also growing up, so
Yes.
they need your time. That is an age when your parents are growing older, so they need your time. So you are like, your partner, your wife needs a lot of time from you. So you really need to see where you can give up. And I think the people you love the most, you
Yes.
take them most for granted, and you feel that they will understand me.
Yes.
So you don't give them so much time. Also, as I said, my father was very strict about education and how you have to study all the time. And when I dropped out of gastroenterology, he was very, very angry at me, and he stopped talking to me for a long time. That was the price I had to pay.
Yes.
Till the day he was alive, he did not visit even one of our hospitals. He was like, if you have left education to start any work, that is the wrong
Yes.
choice, so I don't support you. And he did not talk to me for many years. The day he restarted talking to me was interestingly also when we saved one of his cousins. So his second cousin, I think far removed relative, but a part of the extended family, used to live in Panipat, and he had a
Okay.
major heart attack. And they took him to a big hospital in Panipat. At that time there was no cath labs there except ours, I think. And they said, this patient has a big heart attack, you have to take him to Delhi, we
You have
can't
to
manage
travel,
that.
yeah.
So his son started out from Panipat, and he called a couple of relatives, and then he got to know, this relative of ours has a hospital in Panipat. So he called me at around 3 a.m. in the night saying, oh, do you have a hospital there? And I was like, yeah, of course we have. And he said, do you have a heart doctor there? I said, yeah, of course. And then I thought that we should spend more money on publicity, because nobody knows that we have this, because we have no money to spare. So but I said, yeah, of course, come. So he had just gotten out of Panipat, and Delhi was still about 2.5 hours away, because at that time the expressways were etc. not there. It was a highway still under construction. So he immediately turned back and came back to Panipat into our hospital. But within those 10 minutes or so, his father's condition had worsened a lot. And when he came into our emergency, he was clinically dead, no pulse, no BP, absolutely pulseless. So we cardioverted him with those defibrillators, revived him, took him to cath lab, put in a stent, and he survived. And next day he called my father saying, oh, your son has saved my life.
Then
So
your father.
then my father was like, maybe you are doing something right.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Still, he was
I'm
not
not very sure,
but
but maybe. But then he started talking to me again, and then he was very supportive, of course. But yeah, so these kinds of, I think, family issues you have to, these are some of the. But I feel, things are
Yes,
okay.
yes,
It's not
exactly.
like I've had a bad time. I've enjoyed my life. I
Yes.
play sports a lot. I read books a lot. I travel a lot. So I think it's been
Yes.
a good life, because as entrepreneurs, I think you get to choose when to switch off, when to switch
yes,
on.
Exactly.
And as the famous saying goes, entrepreneurs are people who choose to work 100 hours a week just to make sure they don't need to work 48 hours a week. So I don't have a fixed like a
Yes.
8 hour 6 day kind of a schedule.
No.
So I can choose my schedule, I can take my days off.
Yes.
It works well, I think.
You can work on your own.
Yeah.
You can command your own.
Yeah.
So if I talk about operationally, sir, your main mantra is to give quality treatment in affordable price. So if I say, especially in small towns, how you keep it this thing very straight in the limited resources you have?
Yeah, so what we are trying to do is we are trying to flip the traditional private healthcare model. The private healthcare model, if you see, has traditionally been a very high cost and low volume model. Only a few people can afford the private hospital, rest all will go to government hospitals,
Yes,
etc. So
yes.
it's a low volume, high cost model. What we are trying to do is flip it into a high volume, low cost model.
High volume, low cost.
And we try and keep our costs as fixed as possible. So as I said, we started out with this constraint that we could not actually buy or build hospitals.
Yes.
So we stuck to that. Even if we have money, even if we've raised from investors, we've not bought any hospitals or bought any real estate or built out any hospitals, because we feel it's better to spend money on the machines, the equipment which will
Yeah.
save lives rather than the real estate.
Yes, exactly.
So that we keep in mind. Then we prioritize our equipment accordingly. We do not let pride get in the way of our decisions. We should not be like, oh no, we need a 3 Tesla MRI or we need a 256 slice CT scan, because actually we don't need them for the work that we do. We do
Okay.
emergency work, we do high quality, we save your life, but we don't need to gold plate any of our
Yes,
assets.
yes.
So we buy locally as much as possible. The beds are locally made. The curtains are locally
Very nice,
made.
very nice.
The modular OTs we build ourselves rather than giving it to someone to build expensively. We know the cogs of cogs. We know the suppliers of suppliers.
Oh,
So we
wow.
source directly. So we save a lot of money because as doctors we know exactly
Yes.
what will make a difference to patient outcome and what really won't.
Yeah.
So our equipment that make a difference to patient outcome will always be very expensive. They'll be the highest end equipment that you will find at any other big city hospital. The laparoscopes, the microscopes, the cath labs, CT scans, all will be extremely high end.
Yes.
The same exact machine that you'll see when you go into a big city hospital. But as I said, the beds, the curtains, the monitors,
Everything was-
those do not really make a difference. They're like more of luxury things, right?
Exactly.
So we don't spend too much money on that. We don't spend money on real estate. So this is how we prioritize our work, and we do incessantly focus on efficiencies, ruthlessly cut costs. So this is something that we have to do on a daily basis.
And by having everything make in India was giving some kind of money to our country as only.
Of course.
Because people were getting their money by selling their own product, make in India product to the hospital.
Of course, and it's not just about money, it's encouraging local
Yeah,
entrepreneurs, it's
exactly.
encouraging local companies to build not for just for us, but to export around the world as well,
Exactly.
prove the model with us. So I think the Make in India concept works very well. The vocal for local
Local,
concept
yeah,
works very well for
exactly.
us. So we've been champions of that. We've been champions of Ayushman Bharat. We've been champions of these government schemes. I think the government has helped a lot by bringing insurance into the mainstream.
Yes, yes.
When we started out, insurance was only with a very select few, 5-7% people. Now with this PMJ, Ayushman Bharat coming in, lots of government schemes coming in, 60, 70, 80% of people have some sort of insurance, so they are not denied healthcare.
Exactly.
So I think that has worked very well for us. And when most corporate hospitals were refusing to be on the Ayushman Bharat PMJ
Yes, yes.
treatment because of the low cost, we've been championing it from the very beginning. The first heart procedure in the country was performed at one of our
Wow.
hospitals under Ayushman. The government gave out the golden certificates to hospitals for providing high quality services under Ayushman Bharat. Out of the first 10 hospitals that were awarded, 4 of them were our hospitals.
Wow.
And in the digital NABH that has recently been done, out of the first 10 hospitals, again we have been there. So it's not just that we are small town, cheaper hospitals. We are very high quality work.
Yes, exactly.
And focusing on communities.
And you're just maintaining the quality
Yeah.
which you are giving to your patients. And I think all the schemes the government are, you can say, proposing are very much aligning with your mission.
Absolutely.
In 2020, we, you can say, encountered pandemic, COVID-19. So how did your hospital change its operation, its philosophy for treating the people?
Oh, those were very tough times, and I think some of the worst times we've ever seen in our lives.
Yes.
Really scared to think of those times. We had a very bustling household before that, parents, then my brother's family, then my family. It was like a full cricket team living in one house. And post that, it's a very silent house, cleaned out almost. My parents, my brother went away, and then the children have gone off to school. So COVID was a game changer, I think, in many ways. But we continued to work continuously. All our hospitals provided services to COVID patients. We set up a 1,000 bed hospital, free, complete in Buradi, outskirts of
Wow.
Delhi. Still, I think recorded as the largest ever field ICU with 308 ICU ventilator beds. And luckily, you won't believe this huge hospital did not have even one mortality.
Oh,
And this was
that's
the only
great.
hospital where we did yoga, where we did dance sessions, exercises for patients. I mean, patients were like very happy there. I think that was one of the reasons of the good outcomes. And you know, it was tough times. You would have heard during those times medicines ran out.
Yes,
Remdesivir was,
exactly.
being sold in black.
Very.
Oxygen ran
Oxygen,
out.
sir.
Such a basic
Oxygen.
thing. During my entire life, my entire medical training career, this thought would never have crossed my mind that something like oxygen I would not be able to find.
Exactly.
But medicines were not there, oxygen was not there, hospital beds were not available. People were traveling hundreds of kilometers to find a hospital bed. But one thing you would never have heard is doctors are not there or nurses are
Yes,
not there.
yeah.
They never backed out, right? We continued to be on the front lines. No doctor said I will not see a patient. No
Exactly.
nurse said I will not do a duty. Some of our nurses live in villages. We had hospitals in Haryana mostly at that time, and they lived in villages in Haryana. Villagers had actually dug up the roads going out of the village that nobody will come into our village and nobody will go out because of the fear of the
Exactly.
virus.
Yeah.
And our nurses used to come and work. They were beaten up. One of the nurses was coming in an auto. The entire auto was smashed and turned over that nobody will go. If you go, do not dare to come back. Many of our doctors who lived in rented accommodations, their landlord said to them, do not come to the house,
my
vacate it
God.
because you are working in a hospital and you'll bring the disease home. Those were times that the real characters came out. I think the
Exactly.
good people did extremely good. They were on the street, they were serving medicines, they were
Exactly.
cleaning, they were cremating bodies, and the bad people really became very bad.
Yes.
So the real character came out during those tough
They
times.
showed their devil side.
Yeah, so because I remember many of the patients who expired in some of our hospitals, their family would not even come to cremate them. They would say, no, आप ही कर दीजिए और हम तो नहीं आ सकते.
Otherwise they will also get the corona.
I will not come, आप ही करिए. So we used to go and take the bodies to the cremation house. We used to do the last rites. So those were like very tough times, but taught us a lot of things. I think one thing it taught us was that if the human intent is good, they will go to any extent to help people. We saw many people helping a lot, going out of their way to help. Like we formed this project Step 1, a voluntary group. If you were in Delhi or any state at that time, if you remember, if you were diagnosed with COVID, a call used to come that I am doctor this speaking from Delhi government, and you now have COVID, you have to do these things, all that was project Step 1 behind the
Very nice.
curtain,
Very
working on
nice.
behalf of 21 state governments.
Exactly.
And we made 98 million telecalls. 12,000 doctors were on that platform, working completely free of cost,
Exactly.
voluntarily. So we saw good things also, we saw bad things also. We saw people selling medicines in black, we saw people selling oxygen in black, but
They
we
were
saw people working for free. We saw
Yeah.
people, one of I remember my doctors, he fell sick with COVID, and it was like May, very hot at that time,
Yeah.
wearing PPEs. I remember when I used to go on ICU duty, and I used to work for around 6, 7, 8 hours, and I used to come out. When I took off my PPE, I used to be floating in sweat. It was like water was dripping everywhere.
Exactly.
I used to lose a kilo, 1.5 kilos of weight in one duty, and I had to hydrate myself. So it was very difficult to do those duties in those heat, very hot weather. So I remember one of my resident doctors fell sick. He was admitted, and he said, you don't need to come to this ward. I am in this ward, I'll take care of these 16 patients myself. I will do the rounds. Why do you want to wear PPE? I am already
I'm
sick,
the
so I
one.
don't
Yes,
need to wear
exactly.
PPE. So I'll see all these patients and I'll call you if there is an issue.
Yeah.
So the doctors didn't even step back when they were sick themselves.
Exactly.
I saw doctors losing their very close relatives, family, father, mother, they would go for 2 days, do the last rites, come back, and then rejoin duties. So I think those were times where you really felt that some people will not stop doing good whatever happens,
Exactly.
and that rebuilds your faith in humanity a lot. Even in tough times, humanity always exists.
Exactly. And in if there's a say, humanity always come first.
Yeah.
And we should always take this kind of morale, this kind of faith in ourselves, that whether the society is bad, whether some people are bad, but yes, there is one man, there is some people who have the humanity in themselves. And it's really kind of, you can say, brainstorming to me, the kind of things you are telling us, because in COVID we were just having fun, we were making food, we were watching Netflix and everything, but
Dalgona coffee.
Dalgona coffee, but the kind of work the frontline workers were doing were like, these were salutable. So there is a say, sir, business and social good don't go together. How this say align with your vision for Ujala Sickness?
I think they always go together. I mean, if you do pure business without doing good, it won't survive for a very long time. And what I truly, passionately believe is that profits are very important and essential, but profiteering is something that nobody should indulge in. You shouldn't make money out of other people's misery.
Exactly.
But it is important to be profitable to survive, right? If you go in a flight also they tell you, in case oxygen runs out, put your own mask first,
Then help others.
and then help others, because if you die, then you will not be able to help anyone.
Exactly.
So if an enterprise doesn't make any profits, continues making losses and dies out, then what communities will it serve?
Yes.
How will it help patients? So making profits and surviving, making sure you are healthy yourself is very important. But that does not stop you from helping other people and making sure that you offer your services at most lowest possible prices. And if people can genuinely not pay, it's fine. Somebody will pay, somebody will not be able to pay. You have to help people. Anyways, you
Exactly.
have to help people. So doing social good is an inherent part of business, should always be an inherent part of any business, especially healthcare. Healthcare and education, I think, are two very important
Exactly.
parts of our country where if we don't do good work, we will be left far behind.
Exactly. The kind of thoughts, the kind of insights you gave us, sir, it has just, you can say, enlightened us, and we are just you can say, shuffling ourselves, our mind, that yes, if you are making profit and still doing the social good, these two things definitely can align together. So that's all. Thank you so much, sir, for coming here. Your journey is a true example of resilience and purpose. You have shown us that even in the toughest of the times, when everything seems against you, it's possible to build something that changes life. And there's a quote by Winston Churchill that fits your story as well. Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Thank you so much, sir, for coming here, and stay tuned for another episode. To our listeners, remember, every setback is just a setup for a bigger comeback. This was Against All Odds. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, and very warm greetings to all of you. Swasth rahiye, mast rahiye.